Hi, my name's Brian. This is only my second video for the channel that I started a couple weeks ago. My first video is about our Halloween decorations outside our house. I'm coming at you from my son's playroom. That's why you see some Nerf toys in the background and some other toys. Um, he's at his friend's house playing, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to review today Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This movie came out in 1982. It is the third sequel in the Halloween franchise, which I'm a huge fan of. After part two, as you know, if you're a fan of the series, Michael Myers and Donald Pleasant, spoiler alert, get blown up in a hospital. And after that movie, John Carpenter didn't want to do another movie with Michael Myers as the main protagonist. So he talked the producers into letting them do a standalone feature. And the idea was that every year there'd be a new, different Halloween themed movie with the title Halloween, which is a pretty cool idea. But unfortunately for them, when the movie was released, there was a lot of backlash because people were expecting to see Michael Myers, and it wasn't. Now, my history with this movie is, and I was only 3 years old when this movie came out, but I remember seeing it when I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, and I remember every Halloween, we had a channel on our local cable company, Channel 11 out of New York, WPIX, I think was the call sign. I don't remember. If anybody's from Pennsylvania remembers that channel, just comment down below. Let me know. Um, and at 8 o'clock, at night at 8 o'clock, there'd be a different horror movie on. Obviously, they'd be edited down for, but they used to play Creep Show 2, Friday the 13th, Halloween 1 and 2, trying to think, a variety of other ones, Night of the Living Dead, and so on and so forth. And I remember, and back in those days, this is before every TV had a TV guide with it on your remote. Back then, you had to wait for the Sunday paper to come. There'd be a TV guide in there, and you could see what was coming on that week, which around the end of September, I'd be very excited about. And every Sunday, I'd go to my grandfather's house, and I would get the TV guide, and I'd plan what movies were going to be on that I really wanted to see. This is like the late 80s, 88, 89. I was about 10 years old. And I remember I had never heard it was a Halloween 3. Back then, there was no internet, so you didn't know. If you didn't hear about it in a magazine, which I didn't read many magazines back then, you would never know there was a sequel. It's not like today you can just push a couple buttons and you find out what's out there. And I remember, oh, Halloween 3. When did they make a Halloween 3? And I was excited because I loved the first two. They scared me to death when I saw them. I was about 6 or 7 when I saw them. I didn't sleep for a week. And I was excited. At this point, there's a Halloween 3 I didn't know about. And I remember my grandfather was watching a baseball. It was a baseball game going on, playoff game. And so I had to go upstairs to my grandparents' house to watch it on TV upstairs. So I'd go upstairs and I have my snacks, I have my drink, and I can't wait to see Halloween 3. I can't wait to see what happens with Michael Myers because the last time I saw him, he got blown up. And the movie starts. And if you've seen Halloween 3, it starts with this guy that you don't know running from these cars and these people dressed in suits, and I'm like, what's going on? Where's Donald Pleasance at, and where is Michael Myers at? And I watched the first 15 minutes, and I'm like, this is terrible. Now you're talking about a 10-year-old kid. To me, my expectations were I'm going to see Michael Myers, the continuing of what's going on with Michael Myers, Dr. Loomis. And you didn't get any of that. It was a complete 180 from the first two movies, and I turned it off. And for years, I was convinced I hated the movie. I'm sure a lot of people that are fans of the Halloween franchise are the same way. We're the same way when they first saw it and then kind of grown to appreciate it like I have. Over the years, I've grown to appreciate this movie for what it is. I remember in the late 90s, I was just about graduated high school, and I remember I, I rented it. I went to this one, go back and go to a video store and rent movies. I rented it just to see if I felt any different about it. Had been a long time since I'd seen it, and I took it home and I watched it. And I'm like, you know what? On its own merits, the movie's not that bad. And by then I knew more about movies and actors and that. And Tom Atkins is great in it, although his character's morals are questionable considering he's a doctor and he drinks and he smokes and he's sleeping with young women. But other than that, Tom Atkins is always good in every movie he's in. and Stacey Nelkin's great in it. Daniel Hurley is the villain's great in it, and it's well shot. Tommy Lee Wallace did a good job with the direction. Dean Cundey cinematography is fantastic. It looks beautiful. The effects are pretty good considering the time frame when it was made, and it was a pretty low budget movie. I think they made it for $3 or $4 million. I think it was three, but it could be four. And then reading interviews with John Carpenter, it makes sense where they wanted to go with it and why he didn't. Because past the first one, if you ever seen an interview with John Carpenter, who wrote and directed the first Halloween movie and wrote and produced the second one along with Deborah Hill, he didn't see any further adventures of Michael Myers past the first one. Like, that was supposed to be it. The producers talked him into making the second one, which he didn't direct, but he wrote and produced. So I could see his point after the second one. Let's do something different. I think where they went wrong, and I know I've heard other people say the same thing, if they would have just called it Season of the Witch and released it with that title, I do believe the movie would have been received better. I think the problem is, if you ever watched the trailer, it's on the Blu-ray, they kind of sell it as a Halloween, like a traditional Halloween movie that Michael Myers, they don't show Michael Myers, but it kind of gives that vibe. Like it was kind of a bait and switch. I think the studio probably, I don't know this for a fact, but probably got scared. They're putting a movie out called Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and there's no Michael Myers. And it's a weird movie, so I could see them being scared. It's not an easy movie to sell. But over the years, I've come to like it. There's a lot of things. Tom Atkins is great. Like I said, again, his morals are questionable considering he's a doctor, but he's drinking. He's divorced with 2 kids, and he's sleeping with this young girl. He doesn't even know how old she is. It's kind of weird, but once you get past all that, it's fun. It's a fun time. Daniel Hurley's great as the villain. I love the connection to Sam Hain, or Samhain, the pagan holiday of Halloween, where it comes from Ireland, and it's a little wacky and there's some weird things in it, but it's well shot, there's good production values, it's well acted. There's obviously cheesy moments, but it's the 80s, man. There's cheesy moments in every movie in the 80s, even my favorite movies of all time. There's a little cheese there, but it's why we like these movies. I know it's kind of weird that I'm starting with Halloween 3, considering the Halloween franchise 1 would be considered the best one. Obviously, for obvious reasons, it's a classic, and John Carpenter knocked it out of the park on his first major release out of the gate. Yeah, I like Halloween 3. I would give it a 7 out of 10. It grows on me more and more. I watch it every October. I always make sure I get it in. It's not my favorite of the Halloween franchise. Obviously, Halloween, the original, is my favorite, with number 2 being my second favorite, and then probably 3 and 4 probably right around there. But I did like Halloween 2018 a lot as well. I'll get into those as we go along with these. But I like Halloween 3. If you go into it with an open mind, I think you would find things that are good about it. But I can see people that don't like it. I get it. Movies are subjective. I like horror movies. My wife doesn't really. Just like music. Some people like metal music. Some people like rap music. Some people like hip hop, some people like country. But if you've never seen Halloween 3, it's worth a watch. Go in with an open mind. Go in knowing that there is no Michael Myers. There is no shape lurking around. There's no Dr. Loomis running around trying to find him. If you can get past that, I think you'd have a good time with this movie. It definitely sells the feeling of Halloween throughout the movie. I believe it's Halloween time. It just has that permeating throughout the whole movie. And it's a cool little horror film. And I think if you gave it a shot, you would like it. That's it for this review. If you like what you saw, please, down below, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to start posting some reviews and some other videos as moving forward. I can't post them as often as I'd like. As busy, and this is more of a hobby than anything. It's nothing I'm worried about making money with. It's just to have fun and share my views on some things that I love. So hopefully you'll come back and check me out again. Thanks, and have a good one. See ya.